cargo.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Gudo here from 2 to Base. Today I want to go through some of the post-Galactics meta. I want to look at SWU competitive website, check out some of the decks that have been popping up in some of the tournaments after the Galactic Championship, which was on July 26th weekend. We have had, I'd say there's a few days worth of events that happened the following weekend. There's a list of tournaments that happened at Gen Con. There was a Berlin Con. There was actually PQ in Albuquerque, West Virginia. So we've got like some tournaments that have had some results. Interesting enough, on this list, it looks like we haven't had more than one. Well, let me change my screen in a second. But before we go on for the video and go too far, thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for being a part of this YouTube channel. I really appreciate the support. Growing the channel is a big goal of mine in the next year. And I've just been having a great time making content when I can. We weren't able to post on Tuesday, but I'm trying to get at least 1 to 2 videos out. Shout out to the Haven Games for being our sponsor for this video, our sponsor here at 2 to Base. And yeah, guys, let me switch my screen and we'll get right into it. So, looking at this list here, so we had what happened right after Galactics. So, right after Galactics, we had Gen Con. I don't know if Premier won. Does that mean that was the first tournament of the weekend? Regardless, July 31st had 2 events that day. Looks like both that came out on top were the Han Solo lists. What I'll do is I've actually got tabs up here pulled up of all the, I think it's top 8s of all these events. So I'll try to blitz through some of this. I'm not going to pull up the actual deck list. I just want to look at what leaders placed in the top 8, and we can kind of dialogue on some of that. So this was the Gen Con 2025 Premier number 1 event. So this had 43 players. It was in Indianapolis, and it was 6 rounds of Swiss. So what do we got? We got a Han Solo Blue Force winning it. So we do know that that deck is one of the best decks right now. The Bothan Network, Tarkin Town, Kylo deck got 2nd. So it looks like, wait a second. Where's 2nd place? That's weird. I see 1. I don't know if this is like an error, but it says 1, 3. Does that mean there was some kind of tie or something? Where's 2? I don't know what's going on here, but it should be 2nd place, I'm assuming. Then we have a Lando Tarkin Town, who I gotta say, my buddy James, who's a local in Orlando, he was playing this at locals, and I think I was on Towson Yellow. But I think I got 1 game on him where I was able to control the board, and then there really wasn't a way for him to come back. But he did get me in the best of 3, so he won that match. And the deck is interesting. It kind of goes wide. Here, you know what? I lied. I said we wouldn't pull a Bliss because I didn't want to make this too long. But let's just look at this one really quick. Because this might be the spiciest list in all of these tournaments. So, can I get an image? That's a little better. So, it's a ton of like, well, the list that he was playing, my buddy James, was sort of like this, like a lot of 1 drops, 2 drops that are just kind of pesky. You got the Benthic 2 tubes, a bunch of push damage with the events and the upgrades down here, and then just like, I wouldn't call it, it's not a space deck, but it just drops a ton of small units. It's going very wide. Going wide with units that have like 2 or 3 HP. Very interesting. Some of the, like the Reckless Gunslinger has 1 HP, but and the Greedos, but it was sort of hard to deal with. I feel like every turn this guy was dropping 2 or 3 units. It just felt very floody. I don't know if this is like I wouldn't call this a meta call. Maybe it is because you're going wide and fast. But it's an interesting list. I really liked it. I'm kind of tempted to try it out because it looked like a lot of fun. And in this event, he actually ended up getting what I guess is 4th place. Maybe it's 3rd place. I don't know why it's like numbered weird. Anyway, we got the P at red. That list has been in and out of tournaments, I guess, like not winning, but I've seen a few tournaments with top 8 P at reds. If they're ramping, playing big ass ships, and you can't answer it, you'll lose. Then we got the Towson red, Boba Datavault, which I think is the problem for decks like Kyle, Tarkentown, and maybe Towson. I think Towson might actually have more answers. Well, not necessarily more answers than Kyla, but might be able to push more damage early game to get the job done. But yeah, Boba Datavault's still good, and then another Towson. So that was the Gen Con Premier 1 tournament. There was a Argentina minor tournament, I guess. Not really, probably not that important, but let's see what Argentina's playing. So top 4 goes Quinlan, Tarkentown, Boba, JTL yellow, Mother Towson red, and Akira Datavault. So interesting. Super small tournament with 12 people, so it's not really much to go off there, but interesting. Gen Con Premier 4, so another Gen Con Star Wars tournament here. It looks like, so Yoda red takes it. Eve, so good job by Eve by bringing, I want to call this a rogue deck. I think this deck is pretty much it's doing stuff that like the Han blue list does, but you're cycling more with Yoda's ability, so you're able to like filter your hand a little better. And then Yoda's deploy is much stronger than Han's. In a way, like Han comes out sooner, but I feel like Yoda unanswered gets really annoying, and he can pretty much kill, if you set it up right, you can kill any unit when he flips. That isn't a leader. Towson red getting 2nd, so that's Sip. We know Sip. He did really well at the GC event, Galactic Championship, so great by him. We've got a Vader Yellow, who's still going to be prominent in this meta. Iden Datavault gets 4th place there. Quinlan, Tarkentown in 5th. Crispy, my boy Crispy, shout out to Crispy from the Botham Network, our Orlando local homie here. He got 6th with Palpatine Tarkentown. He's been on that list for a while, though. That's not really new for him, at least, but I took a look at the list. Super solid, looks super cool. Probably really fun to play. An interesting meta call with having Palp. With the games going late, you're able to steal pretty good units. The games are going later because of this mid-range meta, so Palp is a pretty decent meta call right now. I just don't know what color would be best. Pretty cool that in a, how many people, 47 person event, Crispy gets 6th place. You know, Crispy's a very good player. So I won't charge it to him just being good at the game. I actually think the list is pretty damn good right now. Cad Bane Tarkentown, you know, probably typical Tarkentown list, and then Han Solo Datavault coming back for a little more action in this tournament. So pretty cool to see that list not force be in the top 8. So still a good deck with having that extra HP, I guess. Another Gen Con event. So this one was 48 players. I think most of these events have consistently had over 45 players, so pretty good numbers. So Crispy wins this event. Shout out to Crispy again. This is on his Kyle Tarkentown, the Botham Network list. Probably a little different from the original iteration. I'm sure, knowing Crispy, he probably made a couple small tweaks going into this event after Galactics. I know he wasn't at Galactics, but yeah, he took his shot at Gen Con with it and took an event. The Lando, is this the same Lando from the other event? Yep, same Lando comes back and says, I'm going to get top 8 again with this crazy list, so maybe it's something that's actually pretty damn good into this meta. We might need to keep an eye on that deck. Boba, Data Vault JTL gets 4th place, Mother Talzin, Kazuda Yellow getting 6th place. Obi Blue Force, and then Cad Tarkentown in 8th place here. So your usual like highlighted decks, the Talzin, the Kylo Ren, obviously folks quite haven't figured this deck out yet maybe, and so 1st and 2nd place snagging it. And then yeah, Kaz is an interesting meta call because going all space and pushing hella damage is pretty good. Interesting to see yellow. I've seen blue and red pop up. I know there was a blue and yellow list that made it to day 2 in Galactic Championships for Kaz, so interesting to see yellow in here. Another Gen Con event. So we have Frank from the Boston Network on the Tarkentown list taking that event, taking down the Han 2 blue in the finals. Cad Tarkentown in 3rd with Iden Datavolt in 4th by my boy Wes from Orlando. Shout out to Wes Wagner. Great player, great guy, such a homie. Stoked that you were able to get top 8 and get 4th place at that Gen Con event. What else we got? We got Sabine ECL in 5th place there. So Sabine's still kind of creeping up, but nowhere near as prominent right now. Talzin, I think there's been a Talzin list in every single top 8 on these lists, maybe except for the 12-person event. No, even the 12-person event had a Talzin red in top. So, interesting. I don't think there was a top cut there. 12 people only is too small, but still getting towards the end of getting to the top side of the event with Talzin red has pretty much happened at every. Where were we? So that covers the 3rd event at Gen Con. Then we have. So this is where we're at. So Frank takes this event. We were going down the list. Talzin. Poe ECL is interesting. As opposed to Sabine, maybe they're focusing on space action with being able to constantly put Poe on a ship in space. Lane dodging the space right now is you're probably gonna see an increase in that because a lot of the top decks right now are really honing on the ground, like, you know, Kyle Tarkentown, Han Blue, for the exception of maybe playing the Hammerhead ship and maybe like 1 or 2 other ships, but and then we've got Obi-Wan Legends of the Force in 8th place here. So this is all pretty standard meta, except for like the Poe, and I don't even like to say Sabine's not in the meta because she certainly is, but I feel like she's kind of getting pushed out. But yeah, this is a meta top 8 outside of maybe the Poe, and I'm liking. I keep seeing Obi-Wan Blue Virgin's Temple pop up. So maybe of the Virgin's Temple deck, this is like the only one that's like playable. But in a 48-person event, a Obi-Wan 25 HP base getting top 8 is pretty impressive. So they've obviously know something. So shout out to that person, Phil Jack. Gen Con, another Gen Con event. So Iden takes this one. Nate Ferraro. We saw him in one of the other events getting top 8. This one had 50 players. We had Hantu Blue. The Poe ECL actually got 2nd. Was that the same one? Yep, same person. Ends up getting 2nd on this event. Hantu Blue in there. The Lando Tarkentown player would not avoid top 8. It seems like Aaron was in the top 8 quite a bit in some of these events with this Lando list. Boba Yellow, Cad Tarkentown, Ilo Tarkentown, and we had Boba Data Vault in top 8 here. It all looks pretty copy-paste except for that Lando deck, so nothing really to go through here. now we have a Berlin Con, so I guess it's just a slightly, it's a minor event, but it had actually 56% turnout in Berlin, Germany. Interesting top 8, so we do have a little more spice here. Hantu Blue, Sabine in 2nd and 3rd place. And that explains why maybe Palp ended up getting, Palp Yellow got 4th, because against Sabine, there's really no... It's like a 75% win rate for Sabine into Palpatine. That number might flex a little bit. But for the most part, Sabine's really good into Palp, and I can't see that getting past 2 Sabines. So, 1000 Red, Kyle Tarkentown. And one of my favorite decks right now, Thrawn JTL Yellow. Playing that Legacy Run ship, and then we have a Han Solo Hantu ECL. So Hantu ECL probably still really good because you can do the ambush wrecker Poe thing, so it's still prominent. Not winning events though. Got a few more here. So this was a PQ, a 15-person PQ in Albuquerque. Yikes! Only 15 people at a PQ. So Pal Blue Colossus took that one, with Hantu Blue being in 2nd, and then 1000 Red getting 3rd and 4th place there. Interesting turnout. Super small PQ, but hey, I mean, easy points, right? Sure. Then we had the West Virginia PQ. This one I only had 34, so again, another smaller sample size PQ. John Tata from KTOD took this down with Kylo Ren Data Vault. Having a lot of HP is really big right now. He faced a Anakin Blue Force in the finals with Bosk Data Vault. I haven't seen a Bosk deck in quite a while. Whether it was in locals or just like on streams for these events, like I haven't seen Bosk anywhere. So interesting 3rd place there. I'm not gonna call it like a rogue deck because like Bosk Green had been good for a while through some of the like set 2 and 3 metas. Maybe not 2, but like set 3 meta. I remember Boss being more prominent. Quinlan Tarkentown taking 5th, 6th for the Sabine ECL, and then we've got Han to Force again in the top 8 with a Darth Maul, Legends of the Force Darth Maul Blue in 8th place. So pretty interesting turnout there. And for the last one here, we got Berlin Con again, so 2nd event. It was a Iden Data Vault that took that one with JTL Boba Data Vault in 2nd, Sabine in 3rd, Kira Data Vault in 4th, Piet Red in 5th, Yoda Blue. Interesting. I played that in the set 3 meta for my PQ and actually went I think 3-0 and then faced George the Hulk in round 4 in that PQ and actually lost to his Han Yellow. But yeah, Yoda Blue is interesting. I wonder if they're playing Doom. Han to ECL as well in there with a Avar Chris Red in 8th place. Interesting there. What time are we? We're at 18 minutes. Maybe we can go through some of the spicy lists of these events. So let me go through. Let's look through. We looked at the Lando deck. Let's see. What else should we look at? Let's look at the Kaz deck real quick. So look at this list. I like the visual. Let's see what he's got. So he's got actually some hand disruption with Ahsoka in here. Pilots, obviously, with ships. Not a whole lot to run through. I don't see anything that super stands out. Having cunning. So Stinger Mantis is interesting. When played, you may deal 2 damage to an exhausted unit. I think that's pretty good. It's got Ruthless Raider's stat line at 5 cost, so I think that's pretty good. And then, of course, like slapping a pilot on it makes it a big unit. So I like this list. Pretty standard Kaz stuff, though, if you ask me. Going all in on burst and waylays, so that's interesting. And Cantina Bouncer, just there's really nothing too spicy. I think the spiciest thing in here is that Stinger Mantis from Legends of the Force. What else do we got? So that was some spice. What other spice do we got? Oh, that's all meta. That's all meta. I want to look at this Thrawn list. They don't have the list available. Damn it. Okay, well, More than likely, it's got Legacy running it. I've just been itching to see a list from like a grand yellow list that actually can put up a fight. 56 people in Berlin. Interesting. I wonder how that would translate into like a US tournament. I know like UK and overseas from here in America, we've got some spicy stuff going on in other places in the world, but yeah, I'd be interested to see what that list is. I really want to see that Yoda blue list. Let's look at the Palp blue. 15 people. Let's look at the Palp blue list though. I mean, regardless of it being 15 people, he had to have gone through some fights against some of what the meta is right now, like the Hantus and the Towson. Looking for spice. We're looking for hot sauce. Nothing really crazy here. It's pretty standard. Pia is interesting in a deck like this. Being able to ambush. And I'm wondering like what in a not so space meta right now. What are they trying to ambush here? I guess like late game you can actually ambush a reinforcement walker with Admiral Piet. So that's interesting. Main decking a Darth Revan's lightsabers is also pretty interesting. Yeah. So if attached unit is a Sith unit, it gains grit. So maybe he's just a one of, like maybe just for some flavor he put that in there. So I kind of like that. And then of course all your removal stuff, your timelies for all your late game bombs. Timely reinforcement walkers actually pretty good right now. Healing 6 is really nice. But yeah, sideboard pretty standard, nothing insane. 2 restock just in case they go against Akira. Main decking 3 vigilance, so probably gonna try to mill out for sure. Let's see if we can look into. Damn it, they don't have the Yoda blue list. They got all these other lists, but this Yoda blue player didn't want anyone to see the spice, so can't get to it right now. But maybe it's in melee. See if it's in melee. Oh, let me zoom out, buddy. Nope, no Yoda list. Well, regardless, a lot of spice here. A lot of standard meta decks that we're seeing at these tournaments, but that's kind of a snapshot of what we're seeing at some of these events after GC. I do think that we're going to continue to see a lot of like space decks that come out of nowhere and sort of go around the ground strategy and just avoid it and literally just push tons of damage from the space. That Han 4 Tarkentown list from the GC that made it into the top 8, flooding space. It's sort of like Vader's strategy, except you're not relying on the 1/1 tokens to really go all in. With Towson being popular, I feel like Vader Yellow's easily answered right now to a degree. So yeah, interesting look at the meta. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think will end up being the pop-up meta decks coming through the next few, PQ season, a couple months here. I have a PQ I'm going to on Saturday. I will probably end up on Towson Red. But I've been teetering with Towson Yellow as well as a side option. But I think Red is just the way to go right now. As you guys see, it's popping up in top 8s. I love the deck. I've been high on Towson since she was revealed. I have a showcase. So looking to just have a great time. We will have 2 debase team members at the PQ for sure on Saturday at the Collective in Orlando. And then we have another one at the end of the month at Kissimmee at Coliseum of Comics. So events coming up, PQs, locals, meta talk. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for checking out the video, and I hope you all have a great day. See ya.